Have you heard about the checks? If not, it is one of the hottest NFT projects right now. However, when it originally minted, it was an $8 project, but a few days ago, one of them sold for 52 ETH. Today, we're going to dive into the project and speak about how it came to the top of the NFT market. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So the artist of this project is Jack Butcher, and he is known for his simplistic designs, but also as a marketer. He is a great storyteller, but in his design, you can see his minimalistic style. But the interesting thing is, with his NFTs and his art, there's always some sort of story to go behind it. So with this checks project, it is simply the Twitter checkmark. If you know what that looks like, I'm pretty sure you have. If you're in this whole NFT space, you've been on Twitter most likely, and you've seen those blue checkmarks, the verified badge. Well, this is a grid 8x10 check marks on a black background. But hearing the story behind this, how something so simple could turn into such a hot project in a very short time, it all starts with this story. The description on the website reads, "This artwork may or may not be notable. Ownership and authorship in the age of the internet is based on the premise of verification. This concept became a part of internet culture in 2009 when Twitter introduced the verified checkmark to their interface to indicate the notability of an account. A badge typically reserved for journalists, politicians, athletes, artists, and celebrities is a small checkmark next to your name to prove your notability, that your words have weight, your opinions are more informed, or your achievements are greater than average. In recent months, the symbol has been absorbed new context, driven by the acquisition of Twitter platform and the disbanding of the old verification process. The checkmark is a symbol that now sits behind a barrier of an $8 a month subscription, a symbol that transcends language and culture, almost as ubiquitous as the $sign. The intent of this piece is to capture a moment in time, the shifting context in which the process of verification takes place. In a society dominated by electronic culture and communication, the coveted checkmark that was once previously a badge that bestowed by institutions is now a symbol merely means the holder can afford it and is prepared to pay for it. If no one is verified, everyone is verified. If no one is notable, everyone is notable. As we shift into systems of digital verification that no longer rely on central authorities, the authenticity of a piece of art, the genesis of an idea, the cataloging of a piece of internet culture, all made possible via digital contracts and tokens. Its provenance verified by hundreds of thousands of decentralized nodes. Checks is an infinite canvas for expression that is designed to challenge the concept of ownership and authorship in the age of the internet. In one configuration, it can pay homage to modern artists. In another, it can reference the most notable portrait of all time. In another, it can reference a week-old niche internet meme. It's ours now. Don't trust? Check. So as I said, he is a great storyteller, and there's a lot of reference in all of this. First of all, the price of the verification from Twitter, which is $8 per month. That is the new system that was put into place after Elon purchased it and tried to monetize the system, because Twitter was bleeding money for years, and it is not a profitable company. Despite generating billions of dollars of revenue, they were never profitable. And that was one of the things that he came up with, try to generate some income and sort of tear down the walls of the whole elitist feel. So this piece right here is sold for $8, of course, referencing that $8 subscription. And the reference to the elitist, basically, some people really looked at those blue check marks as something that was coveted by the journalists and all those important people, and it was something that was really strived towards. And a lot of people were so upset by it once it was available for sale. But what's really funny to me that jumps out is it says it may or may not be notable. If you don't notice it, if you go to any of the verified check marks for the people that were verified under the old system, so go to any of the big famous people that had those check marks that you know for a fact had, and you'll see this is a legacy verified account. It may or may not be notable. And that's sort of funny in itself because may or may not be notable. Like, what does that even mean? So the old system said this is notable because they are whatever, those accomplishments that they had. But after Elon took over, it says it may or may not be notable. And I think that is just hilarious. That is like a meme in itself. And that is the official one. If you actually go to one of those right now, just click the check mark and read what it says. So I find it pretty funny that that is actually included in there. But then also if everyone is notable, no one's notable. That is a funny reference from The Incredibles, that Disney movie. If you saw the first one, the superhero, or I should say the super villain, his whole plot was to make everyone a superhero with his technology. And if everyone's super, then no one was super. I truly believe that's where that came from. It just jumped out at me because I'm a nerd like that and I watch those cartoons, those old things, and I just love those kid shows. So I was able to recognize that fairly quickly and just found that very funny. But then he also references the fact that there is the ability to rearrange this and express it in very many ways, because what actually is happening is the community is actually coloring those check marks in a way to represent those different art pieces. So the Mona Lisa or a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape or whatever it might be, they're coloring those different check marks to represent that. And they're all the same because the format is already set, because that 8x10 grid, and all they're doing is coloring the different ones. And then that is how they're actually building these different images, and they're circulating around right now. So in case you're wondering, especially if you're on Twitter, why these check marks are circulating in these patterns and just making a mosaic of some other NFT, well, that's why. It's all about this project right here. So, of course, this is $8 to mint it. This is a low price mint. And again, the reference is all because of the $8 subscription. So the mint was an open edition. And in 24 hours, they actually minted 16,031 of these. So it was a much bigger success than he ever anticipated. He thought it would have maybe sold a couple hundred or something. It's been a very niche thing. A few of his supporters, the people that collect his art, and just had fun with it. But it blew up. It went viral, and this is absolutely everywhere. And now it is one of the hottest, most traded NFTs out of any collection. And it's just really funny to see where it all started. And just to give you a little perspective as to show you where things are going right now, remember, this is an $8 mint. So at the point of mint, this was 0.0066 ETH. Yet the current floor price is 2 ETH. So how exactly did this get there? Was this by chance? Is this just a whole bunch of degens flipping in? Actually, no. Believe it or not, there is some thought that went behind this. And I think it just really ties into Jack Butcher's skills of being a master marketer and a storyteller. And of course, a fan of everything that's going on within this Web3 space, having a pulse on the culture and knowing what's going on. So what Jack realized is that he had something on his hands here, way more minted than he ever anticipated. And this was supposed to be a fun art piece, just something to make a statement, something to collect. However, he realized that he had to deliver some sort of utility for it. And putting on his marketing and gamified hat as being an NFT collector, he decided to create a game out of this and introduce the idea of this burn mechanism. So the original art piece, which is 8x10, if you have 2 of those, you can trade those in, burn it for one that reduces down to 40 check marks. Then if you have 2 40 check marks, you trade those in and redeem one for 20. And it keeps cutting all the way in half until it gets down to 1. Then if you have 2 of those ones, you burn those and you get a black check mark, which is a 0 check. So that is the goal, to get all the way down there. And I think this is just an interesting way to gamify this, the collection of it. And if you look at the stats right now, clearly the burning mechanisms has not started as yet. But going down from 80 all the way to that 0 check, the rarity of them goes all the way down to 3. So it starts off with the 16,000 plus, then it goes down to 8,000, 4,000, and so forth. And by the time you get down to 0 checks, there's only 3. So the race is on to get down there. That is going to be very valuable as far as a collector standpoint, because everything is going to be gamified all the way down. So of course, everyone's going to be scrambling to getting a lot of these. So there's going to be a lot of activity, a lot of trades. So despite seeing how high this has spiked already, this is going to be very impressive to see how much activity this is going to have once this gamification actually starts. But as a collector standpoint, it's even very interesting to see the number 1 mint in the collection right now. Just looking at it, remember I said it minted at 0.0066? That was on January 3rd. Well, on January 11th, it sold for half an ETH, so 0.5. But then on the 20th, someone actually made an offer for 11.11 ETH, and that went through. But here's where things get even more interesting. The number 2 mint sold for 52 ETH on February 5th. So that number 1 mint that sold for 11.11 ETH just on the 20th could probably go for, I don't know, 100 ETH at this point, which is absolutely crazy. That is mind-blowing. But it just really shows how things could really catch fire. The fact that we have a marketer here, a master storyteller, and a minimalistic artist all combined into one person. He combined all of those things, really tapped into the culture of what's going on, not only on Twitter, but also within the NFT ecosystem, the community that we have built here. He understands it. And that's what I always say with these big brands that are coming in with their billion-dollar budgets and what have you, and they can work with the best marketing firms, but they never get a pulse of what's going on in Web3, what's going on with the community and the people that are actually interested in it. Well, this is a clear example of a guy that had a simple idea, but had his finger on the pulse and knew exactly how to not only market, but gamify this thing. And it was really a natural thing. It's not a result of pouring a lot of money through a marketing firm. This is a grassroots operation, if you will. And this is just going viral within the community, and it just blew up. It surpassed his wildest dreams. And I'm actually going to leave a link to the website, but also an interview he did with Proof, speaking about his whole art and storytelling philosophies and so forth. It is very interesting nonetheless to say. And any business coming into this space, I think, should really look at this as a case study and really understand. Forget the Bored Apes, forget the CryptoPunks and all of that stuff. This is an example right here that played out on how things could be done. And is completely different. There's really nothing in common with any of these profile picture projects. This is just very interesting. But I'll be keeping an eye on this, and especially once they start the whole burning mechanisms, if you'd like an update on that, this is something that I probably end up throwing into the newsletter, not doing a full episode on. But if you're not subscribed for that, please sign up for it. It is absolutely free at niftybusinessweek.com. I send you some weekly highlights and stories that I might not do a full episode about, just overview of different things. Normally, I stick to one topic on these episodes. But in one of those emails, when it comes out, I go through a lot of different things. But either way, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Show is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.